So because of Rajagun, Kam and Krodh, these are the two qualities that are developed or created in our mind, because of which a person commits sin. So this is the flow. Now today, let's start with the fourth adhyaya. I'll share the screen. The fourth adhyaya is Gyan Karma Sannyas Yoga. Third adhyaya was Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So we learned about different karmas and that what happens if we perform different types of actions. Now here Bhagavan is telling us about Jnana Karma Sannyas Yoga. That is the knowledge, the yoga of knowledge and the disciplines of action. So there are two things that are discussed in this chapter. First is Gyan and second is Karma. And in Karma also Sannyas Yoga has been discussed over here. Now, to strengthen Arjun's faith in the knowledge that he is imparting. So, Bhagavan is telling different kinds of or imparting the knowledge to Arjun, but Arjun is still not convinced. So, for him to be convinced, Bhagavan tells us that Bhagavan Shri Krishna reveals his pristine origin in this chapter. So, he goes back to from where it all started. So, first shlok. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Imau vivasvate yogam Proktavanahamavvyayam Vivasvanamanave praha Manurikshvaka vibravit. So Bhagavan tells us over here that I taught this eternal science of yoga. So this, whatever we are learning today, okay, it is only actually a minuscule part of it. But the eternal science of yoga was told long back, ages back. So the first person or the first being to whom Bhagavan told was Sun God. So the science of knowledge initially was told by Bhagavan to Sun God, that is Surya Bhagavan. Then Surya Bhagavan gave that knowledge to Vivasvan, who passed it further to Manu. Manu instructed it to Ikshvaku. So this is the flow, how the knowledge was passed on from generations to generations. So here I have just made a small table, so it will be easier for you to remember that Bhagwan told it to Surya Bhagwan, Surya to Vaivasvat, Vaivasvat to Ishvaku, Ishvaku, then told all the kings and rishis or sages. But what happened with the passage of time, it was not conveyed to the next generations. And that is why this knowledge was lost. Now in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Shri Krishna gave the knowledge of yoga to Arjun. So if the question
Ma'am,
comes in the exam,
ma'am,
yeah,
just a
just
minute.
to,
Ma'am,
yeah.
yeah. Ma'am, where is Manu? Manu.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'll put it in the chat. Okay. See, sun god, that is Bhagwan gave it to Surya, Surya to Vivasvat, Vivasvat then passed it to Manu and Manu to Ishvaku. Okay. I missed it over here. I'll correct it and then send it to you. Okay. So Bhagwan to Surya, Surya to Vivasvat, Vivasvat then passed it to Manu. And then from Manu, it went to Ishvaku. From Ishvaku to all the kings and rishis and sages. And because it was not written in the written form as well as it was not conveyed to the next generations, this knowledge of yoga was lost. Now, in the exam, if the question comes that in Bhagavad Gita, who gave the knowledge to whom of yoga, then you have to, the answer should be that Bhagwan Shri Krishna gave the knowledge of yoga to Arjun. Bhagwan further tells that, O subduer of enemies, the saintly kings does receive the science of yoga in a continuous tradition. So Bhagwan gave the knowledge to Surya Bhagwan, and then it was passed on from generations to generations, just like a tradition. There are a lot of traditions that we also follow, right? But even we know that whatever our grandparents used to do, how much of it do we follow? So the knowledge is getting lost with time, maybe because of lack of time or due to not conveying it properly, or maybe we don't believe it because we believe in science. We always have that question, why should we do this? This is a question that is asked by today's generation, and even we ask. So even now, if we see that a lot of traditions are being lost, so similarly at that time also, the science of yoga or the knowledge of yoga, after a certain period of time, it got lost because it was not passed on. Either not passed on properly, or maybe to those who had the knowledge, they did not follow it. They did not follow it, feel that it was important. Now, the same ancient knowledge, Bhagwan is telling that whatever knowledge I gave to Surya Bhagwan, that same knowledge, that same secret, I am today revealing it to you. So whatever knowledge of yoga I gave to Surya Bhagwan, I am going to give the same knowledge to you. Why? Because you are my friend, and Bhagwan feels that it is the right time to again give that knowledge. Then Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells that because he's merely standing before Arjun in the human form, he should not be equated with human beings. So Bhagwan Shri Krishna here tells that just because you feel that I'm standing in front of you, you can see me. That doesn't make me equal to the other humans, or I am not the normal or ordinary person that you see in this world. Because what we do, that whatever things that we see, we believe that whatever we see, it is that only. We don't try to look at it from a different perspective. So Arjun could see Bhagwan Shri Krishna, so he felt that yes, he is also another form of human being, just like Arjun, or just like any other person in this world. In the next shloka, Bhagwan says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyutthanam-adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. I think we all know this shlok because we all have seen Mahabharata. So at the starting of every episode, this was sung. So here Bhagavan tells that whenever there is a decline in righteousness and an increase in unrighteousness, righteousness means what? Dharma. And unrighteousness means adharma. So whenever adharma increases in this world, then I will manifest myself on earth. That is the time that I will again take a form of human being or any being on this earth to balance dharma and adharma, or to remove that adharma from this planet. So to protect the righteousness, that means to protect dharma, to annihilate the wicked, that means to destroy the wickedness or evil that is there on this earth, and to re-establish the principles of dharma. I will appear on this earth age after age. So I will keep taking birth, or I will be reincarnated to establish dharma, peace, happiness on this earth. Now, Bhagwan, there are certain important things that from exam point of view, here in this chapter, Bhagwan discusses the different types of karma. How many types of karma are there? Karmano yapi bodhavyam bodhavyai cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. Bhagwan here tells us that there are three types of actions, or there are three types of karma. And which are they? They are action. That means we call it as karma. Second is forbidden action, that is vikarma. And third is inaction, that is akarma. Please, at your end, if you are making notes, make a chart of it. Three types of karma. One is karma, second is vikarma, and third is akarma. Now let's understand what are these type of karma. What does karma means? What does vikarma means? And what is akarma? So karma or action, Bhagwan tells us that it is all the auspicious actions that we do. That comes under karma. So whatever has been written or recommended in our scriptures, in our Vedas, in our Granthas, which helps in controlling our senses and thus purifying our mind. That means calming our mind. Those actions or those karma are called as action or karma. So Bhagavan tells us that these are auspicious karma, good karmas, good actions. Second is vikarma, that is forbidden action. So forbidden means something that you should not do, which are not good. They are inauspicious actions. Forbidden action or vikarma are inauspicious actions which are prohibited by the scriptures, which our sages have told are not good for us, which we should avoid. And since they are detrimental, they result in the degradation of the soul. That means if we perform actions which are not good for us, which have been said or which have been prohibited in the Vedas, where the sages have said that please don't do this is not good. And still, if we do those actions or if we perform those karma, then what happens? Our soul, okay, there is degradation of the soul, or there is the soul, if at all it has progressed to a certain level, it again falls down or it again goes down. That means if till now, by practicing or following the path of yoga, you have climbed 3-4 stairs, but by performing vikarma, that means inauspicious actions, we again go down 1 or 2 steps, depending on which action or what action that we perform. So karmas done to hurt others or do bad to others, they come under vikarma. At times we do certain things that hurt others, or we do or perform some actions that are bad for others. We know that it is not good for others. Still we perform those actions. All those actions, they come under vikarma. Third is inaction or akarma. Means actions that are performed without attachment to the result. Bhagavan tells us that whatever action you do, don't get attached to the results. Don't expect. Again, coming back to the same thing, expectations. The root cause of everything is expectations. That if I did this for someone, that person should behave nicely with me. Or why did that person behave rudely with me? Why didn't that person help me? I was so good with him. So again, we are asking or expecting something in return. So Bhagavan tells that actions that are performed without attachment to the result, merely for the pleasure of God. Whatever action you do it with the feeling that I am doing it for Bhagavan, and just leave it then there itself. These type of actions, they neither have any karmic reactions. So karma phal, that is the fruit of the actions, are not created. You're free from it. Nor do they entangle the soul. That means even our soul, our atma, is also free from it. That means we are detached. So these are the 3 types of karma that Bhagavan has told, and he has told what are these 3 karmas. Further, Bhagavan tells that
Ma'am,
he
just a
discusses
doubt.
about, yes,
Yes. Ma'am, if someone thinks like I won't do any karma at all, काम करूंगा ही नहीं तो कोई फल ही नहीं आएगा। मैं ना किसी को बुरा भी बोलूंगा, अच्छे भी बोलूंगा, कुछ काम ही नहीं करूंगा, मैं बेल्ला ऐसा बैठा रहूंगा। ऐसा होता है ना मैम, कोई दे डोंट डू एनी वर्क। सो व्हाट वुड बी द कैटेगरी देन, इन व्हिच कैटेगरी दे विल फॉल?
What do you think? You tell me.
वो तो मतलब दिस इज आई थिंक बैड थिंग, फॉरबिडन, मतलब दे शुड वर्क ना, एवरीवन शुड वर्क समथिंग, बट देयर आर सम पीपल आई हैव सीन दे डोंट डू एनी वर्क।
I
सो
understand. I got your question. So now again, okay, I'll just read out what is written and you think and tell me. So I will understand if you have got the point. Karma, whatever is recommended in the scriptures. So what the question that you asked, not doing anything, मैं तो कुछ नहीं करूंगा or या करूंगी. Is it, do you think it is recommended in the scriptures?
no.
No. Okay. Then next, vikarma. Which are prohibited in the scripture. Do you think that in the scriptures it would be written that don't do like this? You perform some kind of action. Just velle baithna ya kuch nahi karna. Do you think it is written in the scriptures? No. So it must be prohibited in the scriptures, right?
Yes, I think so.
Right, because not doing anything is also not good.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so that means those actions are prohibited or forbidden in our scriptures. Yes,
Yes.
so they will come under vikarma.
Okay, okay.
Because people, they have a very safe way. Okay, day-to-day example. Okay, if there is fight, there is a group of 4 to 5 friends. हाँ, दोनों में झगड़ा हो जाता है. Okay, what do the remaining 3 people do? I will not interfere. I don't want to get into that. मैंने तो कुछ किया नहीं. I will not do. That to be on the safer side. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. That was I was telling. And one more example,
हाँ.
when husbands keep quiet between the quarrel between the wife and his mother and something. So that is also I will not say anything. Na. So I thought, what is the right way to do the thing like in our materialistic world?
See, whatever has been written in scriptures, you have to do something. And whatever you do, you consider it as an offering to the God. So not doing anything is not right. So whoever is wrong, okay, that person should be told in a nice way that, okay, you're going wrong here. So that that person also comes to know. And that person reflects on himself, whether I was right or wrong. Not taking anyone's side is not the solution. Not doing anything is not a solution. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Which yajna is the best? Now, Bhagwan tells us which yajna is here, the best. Now, you have to understand the meaning of yajna, not the literal meaning, honestly. But here, in this shloka, Bhagwan is telling for those who are completely absorbed in God consciousness. That means a person whose mind is always with the God. The oblation is Brahma. That means whatever he offers is Brahma. Huh? I have put it in the table. The ladle with which it is offered, that is also Brahma. The doer, the one who is performing the action, that is also Brahma. The sacrificial fire is also Brahma. And the fruit received of yajna is also Brahma. Such persons who view everything as God, they easily attain him. Here, yajna, honestly, it in the deeper sense, it means karma, what we discussed previously. That here, Bhagavan is taking the example of yajna, that you're sitting for a yajna. So whatever we offer in the yajna, consider that you're offering it as, that offering is for Brahma. The ladle with which you're offering, that is Brahma. We who are performing that yajna, we are also Brahma. And the fire, the sacrificial fire that is in front of us, that is also Brahma. And after doing everything, whatever fruit we achieve or receive from that yajna, that is also Brahma. When we perform every action in this way, or yajna in this way, then Bhagwan tells that you can attain him. That means you will understand him, what he really is. To understanding it in a better way, Bhagwan has explained it in the next shlokas. Okay, here, important thing is that pranayam has been discussed. So pranayam has been discussed in the 4th chapter, very important. Write it down at your end. Pranayam is mentioned here, 4.29 and 30, where pran, apan, and kumbhak is mentioned. So Bhagwan says that some practice pranayam, that is pran and apan, and also kumbhak. All these things, some arduously practice pranayam and restrain the incoming and outgoing breath, purely absorbed in the regulation of the life energy. So they are performing pranayam. So some people, they perform pranayam. How do they perform? Pran, apan, and kumbhak, with these 3 things. Now, further Bhagwan says that yet others, they curtail their food intake, यानी fasting, या उपवास हम लोग बोलते हैं, या even restricting the food, that I will eat only once, or I will eat only this much, or I will eat only fruits, whatever. They're curtailing their food intake and offer the breath, that means again pranayam, into the life energy. All these knows of sacrifice are cleansed of their impurities as a result of such performances. So Bhagwan here is telling that some perform pranayam, that means they work on the life energy, their breathing. Some, they curtail from the food intake, that means they restrict the food intake, thinking that I am doing this for God. So in both the ways, their mind, not only body, their mind, it becomes free from impurities. But Bhagwan further also tells that this process of pranayam is not told by Bhagwan. So Bhagwan is not telling this. Bhagwan says that there are a lot of Mahapurush who practice yajna in this way. So Bhagwan is telling that there are certain Mahapurush, okay, or yogis who perform yajna in this way. How do they perform yajna? Either by fasting or restricting the food, or by the practice of pranayam, both. And here, pranayam is also called as yajna. Very important. Pranayam is also called as yajna, and it's called yajna of prana. Please remember this. Pranayam is called as yajna of prana. So question might come that in which chapter or shlok pranayam has been discussed. Okay. I'll correct this. This is not 3.9. 29 and 4.30. And how many types of karma are described here? 3 types. Tell me which are those 3 types that we discussed. Anyone?
Karma, vikarma, akarma.
Yes. Okay. Karma, remember, auspicious karma that are good for us, which have been recommended in the scriptures. Vikarma, inauspicious, which are prohibited by the scriptures. And akarma, the actions that are done or performed without attachment. Now, in the next shlok, Bhagwan tells us that, O subduer of enemies, sacrifice performed in knowledge is superior to any mechanical material sacrifice. After all, O Parth, all sacrifices of worth culminate in knowledge. So here Bhagwan tells us is discussing about 2 types of sacrifices. Sacrifice of knowledge, that means gyan, and sacrifice of materialistic things. So one sacrifice is a sacrifice of knowledge or gyan, and second is material sacrifice, that means dravya. sacrifice of the materialistic objects. So it is called as Dravya Yajna. So one sacrifice is Jnana Yajna and second is Dravya Yajna. So how many types of sacrifices Bhagwan has discussed? One is Dravya Yajna and another is Jnana Yajna. And out of these two, Bhagwan tells us that Jnana Yajna is greater or nobler or superior. It is better than Dravya Yajna. Just sacrificing Dravya Yajna means that you are sacrificing only the materialistic things. But Jnana Yajna means that you are sacrificing or you are not attached even to the fruits of the actions that you are performing. And whatever action that you perform, you offer it to Bhagwan. So when you become one with Bhagwan, when you are constantly with him 24/7, then it is called as Jnana Yajna. And Bhagwan says that Jnana Yajna is superior than Dravya Yajna. You have to remember this. Now, how to attain Gyan from an enlightened saint? So now this Gyan, Bhagwan told us that Jnana Yajna is superior. It is better than Dravya Yajna, but how to attain it? So Bhagwan is giving us the solution also over here. Tadvidhi pranipatena परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेश्यन्ति ते ज्ञानैनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. So Bhagwan has given us the solution how to attain Gyan. So how to attain Gyan? Bhagwan is telling by pranipaten. That means approaching a spiritual master or a guru and bow down to him. So pranipaten. Next is praniprashnen. That means whatever questions you have in your mind, ask those questions to your guru. And third is sevaya. That means rendering your service to him. Be totally devoted to him. In these three ways, pranipaten, praniprashnen, and sevaya, Bhagwan says that you can attain Gyan from an enlightened saint. So these are the three ways to attain Gyan or to seek the truth. Very important, these three words, pranipaten, praniprashnen, and sevaya, you have to remember in this way only. Now with this, the fourth adhyay, it ends and we will move on to fifth adhyay, that is karma sannyasa yoga, the yoga of renunciation. There are 29 shlokas in it. Here Bhagwan tells us that it starts with Arjun, that, O Shri Krishna, you placed karma sannyas and you also advised karma yoga. So please tell me which one is more beneficial. So Arjun is confused. Arjun says, you told me this path also and this path also. You told me both two ways. But which do you advise? Which do you think is good? So which is the first path that Bhagavan told us? That is karma sannyas. That means renounce all the action, the path of renunciation of actions. And the second is karma yoga. That is work with devotion. Devotion to God, which is better. Bhagavan tells that both the path of karma sannyas, that is renunciation of actions, and karma yoga, that is working in devotion, lead to the supreme goal. So both the paths lead to the same goal, but karma yoga is superior to karma sannyas. So Bhagavan is telling that karma yoga, that means working in devotion to the God, offering everything, every action that we perform, when we offer it to the God, that yoga is better than karma sannyas. Renunciation of action means being detached to everything, being detached to your actions also. And karma yoga means working in devotion to the God. Offer everything, every action that you're doing. Consider it that you're doing it only for the God. That is better. So first Bhagavan told us about two ways, karma, sannyas and karma yoga. Then he tells us that karma yoga is superior to karma sannyas. The karma yogis who neither desire or nor hate anything should be considered always renounced. They are easily liberated from the bonds of material energy. Now, here, very important, see, neither desire nor hate. That means you're not attached to anything. You don't desire anything that I want this, I want that, I want a car, I want a dress, I want this jewelry, I want to go to Singapore for a trip. You don't have any desire, nor do you hate anything. No, hate anything. It is very easy to hate. I don't like this, I don't like that. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It is very easy to hate. So Bhagwan here tells us that the karma yogis who neither desire nor hate anything, that means they are in a balanced state, should be considered renounced. Those people are renounced. And these type of people, they get liberated from the bonds of material energy. That means they are free from their actions, they are free from attachment, and they are free from the cycle of birth and rebirth, death and rebirth. Offering, next shlok, offering the results of all activities to God, the karma yogis attain everlasting peace. Whereas those who, being impelled by their desires, work with a selfish motive, become entangled because they are attached to the fruits of their action. So exactly opposite to this is over here. Bhagwan is telling that whatever activities you do it for the God. Then you are very peaceful. But those who have a selfish desire behind every action, they still have desire, they still have expectations. Those type of people, they are not free. They are not free from the bonds of material energy. So again, those people will be entangled in the cycle of universe. Then who is free? Bhagwan tells us who is mukta or who is free, shutting out all thoughts of external enjoyment with the gaze fixed on the space between two eyebrows, equalizing the flow of incoming and outgoing breath in the nostrils, thus controlling the senses, the mind, and intellect. The sage becomes free from desire, fear, and anger, and always lives in freedom. So Bhagwan tells us, okay, who is free? So who is free? When you, okay, are free from the external enjoyments. That means whatever you see in this world, materialistic objects, you're free from them. You're not attached to any of the things. There is no desire. So external enjoyment, you're free from it. Then your gaze is fixed between the space, between the two eyebrows, that means Agya Chakra, equalizing the flow of incoming and outgoing breath. That means Pran and Apan, they are they are in the balanced state. And thus, when you sit in this way, then you are able to control your senses. That means Panchanyani Indriya, your mind and your intellect. That means Buddhi. Everything is under control. Then he becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. And he always lives in freedom. So if you want to be free or mukta, then what should you do? Forget about whatever is there around you, whatever you see in this materialistic world, see here. Then focus at the center of your eyebrows. Work on your prana and apan. That means focus on your breathing. It should be relaxed. It should be some. Then with this, your senses, your mind and intellect will be in your control. They will not run here and there. In this way, you'll be free from desire, fear, and anger. And when this happens, you're free. That is what Bhagwan tells over here. Adhyay 6th. Atma Sanyam Yoga, the yoga of meditation. There are 47 shlokas in this. And a very, very, very important topic has been discussed in this chapter, that is yoga root. From exam point of view and also from the exam of your life. We are always giving some kind of exam, I feel. Bhagwan, he puts obstacles, challenges in front of us. And when we face it in a correct way, then we are free from it. And then we move ahead. This happens in life. Similarly, but in this, who is the yoga root person? One who has achieved or attained to yoga, Bhagwan tells us. Let's read this shlok. 4th and 5th was were very short chapters, because not from exam point of view we are studying, and whatever important points were there, I have covered. 6th is a bit larger than that. Yada hinendriyartheshu न कर्मस्वनुषज्जते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते. Who is yoga ruled? That means who has attained to yoga, who has become a true yogi. So Bhagwan here tells us, when one is neither attached to the sense objects nor to the actions, such a person is said to be elevated in the science of yoga, having renounced all desires for the fruits of the actions. So whatever Bhagwan has told in the previous chapters, Bhagwan is summing it up, and he's giving a name. Don't be attached to the sense objects. That means don't get detached from all the materialistic things, nor to the actions. If you have done something, just do it and leave it. Don't expect anything. Renounce all the desires for the fruits of actions. So no expectations. Such a person is a yoga root person, or we call such a person as a yoga root. Further, Bhagwan tells us, he has given a lot of qualities that tell us how a yoga root person is, or if you want to be a yoga root, what qualities you should inculcate. Or you can just do a checklist. How many of these qualities do we have? So how far are we from being a yoga root? ज्ञान विज्ञान तृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः. So Bhagwan is telling over here that the yogi who are satisfied by knowledge, that means satisfied by knowledge means Atma-jnana, and have realized their true self. They know the true nature that we are a part of Paramatma and have conquered their senses. They remain undisturbed in all circumstances. So no matter what happens, a fight is going on, something that doesn't take place as per your wish. We want something to happen in a particular way. For example, my son, you want him to score very good marks. He does not score. You want him to keep his room very clean and tidy. He doesn't keep the room tidy. You want your family members or your friends or relatives to behave or act in certain way. But that doesn't take place. So no matter what the situation is, Bhagwan tells us that if you remain undisturbed, okay, fine, I'm okay with it. It doesn't make you angry, or it doesn't disturb you, it doesn't upset you. Then they see everything, dirt, stones, and gold, as the same. So a yoga root person, dirt, stones, and gold, all are the same. But for us, if we get gold, we will keep it in the locker. And dirt and stones, what we will do, we'll put it in a pot and plant a tree in it, or we'll throw it outside. But if you see from practical point of view, what is gold? Gold for us is something that from which we make jewelry or items, gold items. But dirt and stones is also gold for a farmer. So the definition of gold. Gold means what? Something that is very valuable for us. Yes. So from practical point of view, our family, our friends, our life, our home, car, everything, our children, they are gold to us. They are very precious to us. So we can consider it in this way also, that for a farmer, what is gold? The soil is gold. If the soil is good, it is going to give a good crop. It is going to grow a good crop. If the crop is good, he will sell it for a good amount and he can live a good life. Now here Bhagwan is telling that for a yoga root person, dirt, stones, gold, everything is same. He will consider gold also as dirt or stones. Now, gyan or knowledge is the theoretical understanding obtained by listening to the guru and from the study of scriptures. So, what is gyan? I have given a little bit of explanation over here so that you can understand it. Gyan is what? Something that you hear from the guru or from your teacher, or you read different scriptures. And whatever knowledge that you attain from it is gyan. Then, what is vigyan? Vigyan is a realization of that knowledge as an internal awakening and wisdom from within. Okay, so you have understood, you have read the scriptures, you have heard what your guru is or teacher is telling. Okay, you attained that theoretical knowledge. Now, that is all theoretical, but Vigyan is practical. Now you know what to do. Now, doing it, applying it in your practical life is Vigyan. To understand it in a simple way. Cook, if you just read the cooking books or just see the recipes on the FB or Instagram, it's gyan. You know how to cook it. But actually preparing it in your kitchen, that is vigyan. Observing people swim. Okay, you know that swimming, you do it like this. You take your hand like that, then the movement of the leg should be like that. But just by looking at it is not enough. You know, okay, what to do, how to swim, you have that knowledge. But what is Vigyan? When you go in the water and you actually swim, that is Vigyan. So Bhagwan tells us the intellect of the advanced yogi becomes illuminated by both Gyan and Vigyan. So both Gyan and Vigyan, both are important. Equipped with wisdom, the yogi sees all materialistic objects as modifications of the material energy. He feels that whatever is there around us in this world, it is just energy. Different kinds of energies. Just like you get vegetables, there are different kinds. But from all the vegetables, we are going to get nutrients, vitamins, right? The form is different. Similarly, Bhagwan tells us that a yogi who has attained yoga, for him, all the things that he sees in this world, they are just modifications or different types of energies. Such a yogi does not differentiate objects based on their attractiveness to self. Just because an object seems to be very beautiful, he will like it, and something that is not very attractive will be discarded. It's not like that. Or he feels that it is not good. It's not like that for him. The enlightened yogi sees all things in their relationship with God. So whatever is there, he sees God in it. Since the material energy belongs to God and all things are meant for his service. According to a yogi, everything that is around us, it belongs to God. Means there is God in it. And whatever is there around us, it is meant for his service. Now, again, a very important topic. Who is friend? Bhagwan tells us, and who is our enemy? We should know who is our friend and who is our enemy. Bandhuratmatmanastasya येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्. So Bhagwan here tells us who is your enemy and who is your friend. Not the regular definition of a friend that we know. Here he is telling, for those who have conquered their mind, it is their friend. For those who have failed to do so, the mind works like enemy. So Bhagwan tells us, who is your friend? Like when you have conquered your mind, that means we all are sitting over here. Okay. But if your mind is somewhere else, that, oh, now, how long will the class last? How much is going to do? She teach? Or what, now after this, I'm going to cook, or I have to have lunch, or I have to go here and there. So your mind is not here. It is not in your control. Then what happens? Then your mind is your enemy. But when you are able to conquer your mind, that means you're sitting here and you feel that, yes, I want to be focused over here. And your mind doesn't run here and there. Then it is your friend. Who is superior, best, or shrestha? Now Bhagwan says, okay, we know that. Who is your friend and enemy? I have told you this. Who is shrestha? Who is the best? Who is superior? The yogis look upon all, the well-wishers, the friends, the foes, the pious, the sinners, with an impartial intellect. The yogi, who is of equal intellect toward friend, companion, and foe, neutral among enemies and relatives, and unbiased between the righteous and sinful, is considered to be distinguished among human. So we have that tendency as a human being that our behavior towards our friend is different. Our behavior to the people whom we are not very fond of is different. Whether we want it or no, unknowingly it does happen. Unconsciously it happens. It does take place. Or we are very judgmental about right and wrong. So we categorize people in these two categories. They are sinners. They don't do things in the right way. And there are some, wow, you should live like this, or they are the best. So in this way, we have categorized all the people around us. Now here Bhagwan tells us that who is Shrestha? Which yogi is the best or Shrestha? The person, the yogi, who, for whom? His friends, his enemies. The pious, the sinners, his relatives, everyone, whether whoever that person is, immaterial of who is there in front of him, he looks upon them unbiased. Now, for example, if your friend asks for a dress, okay, you will happily give. Huh? Or if your sister or brother, he asks you something, you will happily give that because is your sister or brother or your friend, very good friend. But if someone whom you are not very fond of, if that person asks you, I want this, do we give them happily? We will make different bahanas. No, it's not there. This, I'm out. It's not with me. I've already given it to someone. So this is how we distinguish between our friends, whom we are very fond of, and people whom we are not fond of. We always have that. Think on this. But Bhagwan tells us that the Sreshta person, for him, all these people, they are the same. He doesn't distinguish or is unbiased. Next, Dhyan Yoga is discussed in this chapter. So if the question comes in which chapter is Dhyan Yoga discussed, it is in 6th chapter, 10th shlok. So how to do Dhyan or how to practice Dhyan? To be a yoga guru, to be a yogi, you need to do certain things. So few things Bhagavan has already told. Further, he's telling us how to practice Dhyan. So the place where you should perform dhyan, the asan, in which posture you should sit, and how, the process, everything is told over here. Yogi yujyatya satatam atmanam rahasi sthitaha ekaki yata chittatma nirashira parigraha. Bhagwan tells us that those who seek the state of yoga should reside in seclusion. Seclusion means you should practice dhyan yoga where it is quiet. If you sit on the main road or sit in the lane near your house, you're going to see a lot of people. They will talk to you. They will call disturbance. There will be noise. So Bhagwan tells us that practice it in seclusion. So it should be a very quiet and peaceful place where you're alone. Then constantly engage in meditation with a controlled mind and body. So Bhagwan here is telling us that when you're sitting in a peaceful, in a quiet place where you're alone, then you should try to meditate. How to meditate? By controlling your mind and body. So your body should be in a particular posture and your mind should be at peace, getting rid of desires and possession of enjoyment. So at that time, you should not think whether you are, oh, I'm missing this thing. I wish I was there. I would have done this. I would have done that. Don't. Your mind is in control where you are. You're sitting for dhyan. So your mind should be controlled. Along with the body, your mind should be also where you are. And you should forget about your likes, your desires, what you have, whatever you have in your life. It could be materialistic things or your family, your friends. Just forget everything. Further, he says, after that, Shuchau deshe pratisthapya sthiramasama na atmanaha natyuchitan nati nichai Jaila Kushottaram. Now, here Bhagwan tells us how the asan should be, or the seat where you're going to practice. How should it be? Where should you sit? On what you should sit. So, to practice yoga, one should make an asan in a sanctified place. So, the place should be a quiet and peaceful, nice, secluded place. Then, first you have to place kusha grass. So you should place a grass, then a deer skin. On that should be the deer skin, and on top of that should be a very soft cloth. This should be one above the other. Now in exam, the sequence is always asked. So first remember there should be grass, then deer skin, and then a cloth. One above the other. Now, and this asana, it should not be neither too high or too low, otherwise you will fall down. If you're sitting on a stool and placing everything on that, there are chances that when you sit in dhyan or asana, you're so absorbed in that you lose the balance and you will fall down. So it should not be too high or too low. Remember, kush grass, deer skin, and then a cloth. And the yogi should practice yoga by sitting on this asana. Further, Bhagwan tells us, Tatraikagram mana krutva yata chittendriya kriyaha upavishyasane yunjyada yogamatma vishuddhyaye. Bhagwan here tells us that we'll take the 13th shloka also. Samam kaya shiro grivan dharayanna chalam sthiraha samprekshya nasikagram swan dishaschanavalokayan. You've heard these words a lot of times. Samakaya shiro grivam. So remember that this is in 6th chapter 13th shlok. Samakaya Shiro Grivam. Here Bhagwan tells us that by sitting firmly, now you have kushkras, then deer skin, then cloth, you're sitting on it. Then what should you do? Then you should strive to purify the mind by focusing it on meditation with one pointed concentration. So you should focus your attention only on one point or object, or we call it as alamban, controlling all thoughts and activities. So all thoughts and activities should be in control. Your mind should be on that point where you're concentrating. Your body should be still. There should be no activity. He must hold the body, neck, and head firmly in a straight line. Samakaya Shiro Grivam. Sam, that means straight line. Kaya is the body. Shiro, that means the head. And Griva is the neck. So you must hold the body, head, and your neck in a straight line and gaze at the tip of the nose. Then you have to gaze at the tip of the nose. That means your eyes are not closed and without allowing the eyes to wander. So the eyes are not closed, yet your eyes are not wandering. So it is your eyes are not looking at whatever is there around you. Your eyes are completely focused at the tip of your nose. And that is the position in which you should perform dhyan. Prashantatma vigati bhir brahmachari vrate sthitaha मनस्संयम्यमच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः. Now, Bhagwan tells us that with a serene, fearless and unwavering mind, that means you're sitting quietly. Your mind is in control and you don't have fear of anything. That I'm sitting in a secluded place, a tiger will, if at all you're sitting in near a forest, a tiger will come and eat me. Or if you're sitting somewhere, a vehicle will come and you're not sitting in any place like that. You're in a quiet, peaceful state. Your mind is fearless that wherever I'm sitting, I'm safe. So you're fearless. Unwavering mind. Your mind, your senses are in control. And installed in the vow of celibacy. So you've taken the vow of celibacy when you're practicing dhyan. The vigilant yogi should meditate on me, having me alone as the supreme goal. So Bhagwan tells us that what should be the goal of the yogi? What should be the aim? His aim should be Bhagwan alone. He should meditate. He should have only Bhagwan in the mind, and to attain Bhagwan should be his only goal. Thus constantly keeping the mind absorbed in me. So in your mind there should be only one thing, and that is the Bhagwan. The yogi of disciplined mind, he attains nirvana and abides in me in supreme peace. The person who practices dhyan in this way, who meditates on me in this way, that person, he attains, that yogi by practice attains nirvana. Now here important, who doesn't attain yoga and who attains to yoga. These 2 points are very important. In 6.16, Bhagwan tells us those who eat too much or too little, sleep too much or too little, cannot attain success in yoga. So if you're eating too much, what is going to happen? You're going to be drowsy, you're going to feel sleepy, you're going to be lazy. So we cannot attain yoga. Can we practice meditation or yoga? No. If you have eaten very little, your body will be very weak, your mind will not be able to work properly. Okay. If you have slept too much, you will still be a little drowsy, lazy. And if you have not slept well, you will not be able to think clearly. So Bhagwan tells us that such state of our mind and our body is not going to help us attain yoga. Then who attains yoga? What should we do to attain yoga? Bhagwan tells us, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So Bhagwan tells us that those who are temperate in eating and recreation, that means whatever we eat in moderation, not too much of food and not too less of food also. You should eat in moderate, and recreation, whatever activities or work that they are doing, it should be in the balanced state. Regulated in sleep. Sleep should be also in proportion, and can mitigate all sorrows by practicing yoga. Such a person who eats in moderation, whose recreation, that means the sexual life is in moderate, who works or whose actions are balanced, whose sleep is regulated, he is free from all the sorrows. All the dukkha, all the sorrows are destroyed by practicing yoga. He attains to yoga. Further, Bhagavan tells us, Tam vidyat sukh dukkha sanyoga viyoga yoga sanjitam sanishchena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa. So Bhagwan here tells us further about sorrow. That state of severance from union with misery is known as yoga. That means severance. That means when you're free from union with misery. That means when you're free from sorrow, free from all the dukkha, that state is called as yoga. This yoga should be resolutely practiced with determination, free from pessimism. That means when you're practicing this type of yoga, you should practice this with full determination and free from pessimism. That means you should not have any doubt. With complete conviction, with complete faith, you should practice this. Because if there is doubt in your mind, when you're performing any action, if you have doubt, the outcome of that action is not going to be good. So whatever you do, you're giving net exam, do it with complete faith, complete conviction. Don't have any doubt. Yes, I'm going to clear my exam. Yes, I will be able to remember everything, whatever I have studied in the exam. And whatever I have studied in the exam, for the exam, that only will come in the exam. So be optimistic, be positive. In the next slok, Bhagavan tells us, Chanchalam himana krishna pramathi balavan dhrudam tasyaham nigraham manye vayo rivasu dushkaram. Now Bhagavan is talking about our mind. Our mind is very chanchal. It is restless. It is always running here and there. So in the next shlokas, Bhagavan is telling how to control your mind. How is the mind and how to control your mind? The mind is very restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. Oh Krishna, it appears to me that it is more difficult to control than the wind. So Krishna feels, Arjun feels that it is easier to control the wind. We know we cannot control the wind. We all know that, but Krishna here feels that, oh my God, I will control the wind. It is easier to control the wind, but it is not easy to control the mind. So it is so difficult. He's just giving an example over here. A beautiful example that you can control the wind if given a chance. But mind control is very, very difficult. Then how to control mind? Very important for us also from exam point of view and otherwise also in our life. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Asaushayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigrahai Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena cha Guhyate. So Bhagavan tells us what you say is correct. It's very difficult to control our mind, but By practice and detachment, it can be controlled. Bhagavan tells us two ways of controlling our mind. That one is practice, that is abhyas, and detachment, that is vairagya. Even Patanjali Muni has told in Yoga Sutra, Sato dirgha kala nirantarya satkara asevito dhrudabhumi abhyasa vairagyam tat nirodha. That by practice and detachment, your mind can be controlled. So Bhagavan tells us two ways. So in exam, if it comes, how two ways to control your mind, then there are two ways: practice and detachment. Remember it as abhyas and vairagya also. So abhyas and vairagya are the two ways in which we can control our mind. Abhyas means what? Continuous practice again and again. So to dirgha kal, for a long time, nirantarya, continuously. Asevito, Druda Bhumi. Asevito means complete faith. So do the same thing again and again. For NET exam, study again and again, revise every chapter again and again, listen to the audios or the videos again and again. And you have to do it continuously. Today I did this, then tomorrow I didn't have time. That is not done. Do it continuously. For 6 months you have to study, not even 6 months. Do it every day. After the exam, you have your life. You can do whatever you want. But now your aim is to clear NET exam. So study every day. Plan your day. Study continuously and have faith. Be detached. For next 4-5 months, be detached from everything. Just give up everything and focus only on your studies. How is the state of a Yog Bhrashta Purush? Now, Bhagwan further tells us about or discusses about Yog Bhrashta Purush. What do you mean by a Yog Bhrashta Purush? A Yog Bhrashta Purush does not, such a person who deviates from Yog gets deprived from both material and spiritual progress. So here Bhagwan tells us that a person who deviates from yoga, that means now you're giving the exam, you're going to give the exam, you're studying, okay, you're on a certain path, you're following that path. A person who deviates from you, okay, you want to give the exam, you're practicing, you're studying, suddenly a friend calls you, chalo महाबलेश्वर जाके आते हैं, और चलो इधर जाके आते हैं, चलो let's go, and you forget about your studies, let's go, and then you're deviated. That means you leave your studies, you forget about the goal, and come on, let's go and enjoy. So person who deviates from you, deviate from its path, gets deprived of both material and spiritual success. So if you go for a vacation, enjoy. Are you going to clear your exam? Will you finish whatever you have planned? You will not. So that person will be deprived from whatever his aim is or goal is. So Bhagwan here is telling that you will be deprived of both material as well as spiritual success. Because by yoga, you attain spiritual success also. And here Bhagwan is giving a very beautiful example of a cloud. We see that the clouds, okay, they move in the sky together. So Bhagwan here tells us that the person who deviates from yoga, who moves away from the path of yoga, he is like a broken cloud. So a small part of a cloud, if he is broken from the rest of the clouds, the sky is so big. He doesn't have any position. He doesn't know where to go in this big sphere or hemisphere or in the sky. So Bhagavan tells us that yogi, that person is like a broken cloud who doesn't have any place or position. Such a beautiful example. In the next shloka, Bhagavan tells us that, O Parth, who engages on the spiritual path does not meet with destruction either in this world or the world to come. My dear friend, one who strives for God realization is never overcome by evil. So Bhagavan here tells us that person who engages in the spiritual path, okay, who does not deviate from his path, Whatever path he has selected, he keeps working on that path. He does not meet with destruction. He will never be unsuccessful. He will always attain success in this world and also in the world to come. That means in this birth as well as in the next birth. Such souls are then given birth in a family where they have the opportunity to continue their spiritual journey. So such people, they will born into a family where they will be getting the opportunity to continue their practice. For example, now it's like a person, a child, he's going to the school. In one school, he studied from first to fourth. Now, when he is changing the school, he will go to the fifth standard. He won't have to start from the first standard again. And so, wherever he left in the previous school, by joining the next school, what will happen is he will go in the next session, next class or standard. And from there, he will continue his study. Similarly, Bhagwan is telling over here that the person who is on the path of yoga, spiritual journey, okay, if this person was here, from here he started, he has attained to this path, or he has climbed, let's assume he is climbing the stairs, 4 stairs have been climbed, then in the next birth, he will start from 5th stair. And his journey will continue. He will not have to start from the first. That is the beauty of it. And for a normal person, what happens? Those who are not on the spiritual path, they again go back to square one and they again have to start their journey. Now, here, Bhagwan has used 2 words. Suchi means those who are pious and of good character. And Shri means those who are wealthy. The unsuccessful yogi are either born in a pious family. Shuchi means a pious family or family which is very good for his progress. He can practice or he can move in his journey of spirituality. He will be born in such a nice, pious family. Child spirituality from childhood. So from the time he is born, his spirituality will be nurtured, or he will be born in a wealthy family where all the bodily needs are taken care of and one does not need to engage in the struggle of survival. So Bhagwan here is telling that if you work on the or you walk on the path of the spiritual journey, and if by any chance this journey it ends over here in this life, when you again take a birth in the next birth, when you are again reborn, you will either be born in a pious family or a wealthy family. So in both the cases, you will be a blessed soul. On taking such a birth, O descendant of Gurus, they reawaken the wisdom of their previous lives and strive even harder towards perfection of yoga. So when you're born in such a family, good family, where they're motivating you to study, to grow spirituality, to follow your own path, when you're born in such a nice family, what happens? You automatically move or you strive hard to perfect the yoga and you continue the journey. I had given this example in the start, I think in the first session or second session, that for example, some children at the age of 3 or 4 years, they are beautiful singers. They sing so well without any previous background. Why does this happen? Because their journey as a singer, it ended at a certain level. They have those sanskaras with them. So when they're born in the another family, in this birth, they start their journey from there. So they already know everything. And that is why we are surprised. They haven't learned anything. They don't know how to dance. They did not go to any teacher, or did not go to any teacher to learn singing. But how come they know? It is because of their previous birth, the karmas of their previous birth, the actions of their previous birth, that they are blessed. Hmm? He gives us the fruits of our past efforts and enhances our spirituality from within. So here again, Bhagwan is telling us the same thing, that we can progress our journey in spirituality. This explains why some people harboring materialistic views suddenly become deeply spiritual. It does happen that a person who was so much into materialistic things, enjoying his life, suddenly that person becomes spiritual. He suddenly realizes that no, I don't want all these things. Now I want to progress in spirituality. Or he starts believing in spirituality. Why does this happen? It takes place when their spiritual sanskars they awaken. So whatever spiritual sanskars were there within them, the sanskars they come along with the soul from the previous birth. Those sanskaras at times they don't awaken as soon as they are born. At times it takes time for these sanskaras to awaken. And when these sanskaras they awaken, suddenly they realize the spirituality, the spiritual aspect, and they start following the spiritual path. Bhagavan tells that indeed they feel drawn towards God even against their will on the strength of their past discipline. So they are not willing, they don't want. They did not want means they did not wish. But suddenly something happened and they are drawn towards God. It is because of their past sanskaras. And such seekers naturally rise above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Once spiritual sentiments are sprouted, they cannot be wiped. And once this faith or this feeling of spirituality of or being on this path it arises in the mind, these sanskaras or these thoughts they cannot be wiped out. They automatically follow that path. The soul with devotional sanskaras from the present and the past lifetimes, they get naturally inspired towards spirituality. They automatically are drawn towards spirituality and they refer to it as a call of God कि भगवान ने बुलाया है. मेरे तो मन में था नहीं. I never thought of this. But suddenly I felt that God is calling me. That do this. God is telling me do this. Follow this path. And this is how, in history, great prince, noblemen, wealthy business persons, you have seen that they were very comfortable in their lifetime. Even Gautam Buddha, we know, he was a prince. But suddenly, overnight, he had that call from God and he renounced everything and he became a yogi. And we wonder what happened. So it is because of the past sanskaras from their life. They were sleeping and they awakened. With the accumulated merits of many past births, these yogis, they engage in sincere endeavors to make further progress. They become purified from material desires and attain perfection in their life itself. And because of their past sanskaras, they follow the same spiritual path. They are purified from material desires. That means they're free from all the materialistic things, the desire, the kam, krodh, rajagun. They're free from all these things. And they attain perfection in life. That means they start leading a different life. They become one with Paramatma. A yogi is here, Bhagavan is telling us, a yogi is superior to a tapasvi, superior to a jnani, and even superior to a karmi. Therefore, Arjun, strive to be a yogi. So, Bhagavan in this chapter is telling Arjun that a yogi, he is superior. Superior to whom? Shrestha, Shrestha. A yogi is Shrestha. Shrestha than a tapasvi, jnani, and a karmi. So here remember this sequence. Yogi is superior to tapasvi, superior to jnani, and even superior to karmi. Remember all these three words. Tapasvi, jnani, and karmi. A yogi is superior to all these three types. With this, we come to an end of 6th adhyay. Next adhyay, we will start in the next session.